In this video, we will look at the various ways to add JavaScript to an HTML file. There are various ways that this can be done, and the first one we'll look at is called inline JavaScript. Inline JavaScript is where we add JavaScript directly within an HTML tag using the onClick, onload, or other event attribute. So let me just go ahead and demonstrate this to you. I'll just define a button quickly and say click me and save. So as you can see, the button is here. So on this button tag, I'll add the onClick attribute, and then I'll just say console. Let me write that properly. Console.log, and then I'll say hello world, and save. So when I go to my console in the browser, we don't see anything in the console, but when I click on it, I've already clicked on it, you see that hello world is printed in the console. So this is how we can add JavaScript inline. And then you can write a function here, or better still, let me show this to you. I can go ahead and then let's say I'll just define a variable. Let's say let const message equals hello world, and then I'll just console.log, let's say message, and save. When I go to my console here, we don't see anything, but when I click on this button and go back to the console, you see hello world in the console. So you can add more logic here. You can write a function, you can write an if statement or a class or anything, but it will make your HTML file cluttered. So it is not advisable to use this approach to add JavaScript unless you really need to do. So the next way we can add JavaScript to an HTML file is through internal JavaScript, and this is where you can add the JavaScript inside the script tag within the HTML file. So let me just go ahead, comment this one out, and demonstrate that to you. So in order to do this, let me comment it out properly. Let's do this quickly and save. Good, we are good to go. So in order to do this, I can just write the script tag here, and in between the script tag, I put in my JavaScript functionality. So I can define a function here. So let me just do that quickly. I'll just say const show message, which is an arrow function, and then I'll just put that in line. I'll just console.log hello, let me write that properly, word, and save. So and then I'll go ahead and then execute the function show message, and when I go to my console here, you see hello world printed in the console. So this is how we can add JavaScript internally by using the script tag, and this script tag can also be put in the head tag. So not only in the body, but it can also be put in the head tag. So I'll just copy that and then comment it out and save. We don't see anything in the console, but when I go back and paste it in the head tag and save, you see what hello world printed in the console here. So this is what we call internal JavaScript. Now the last one we'll look at is called external JavaScript. Now in external JavaScript, this is where we can link an external JavaScript file using the script tag with the source attribute. So let me just demonstrate this to you by first of all create a new JavaScript file called index.js, and then I'll just say console.log hello, let me write that properly, hello from the index file, and save. When I save that and go back to the console, you see that we don't see this console.log in the console over here. So how do we make JavaScript, our HTML file aware of this JavaScript file? So in the body tag here, inside the body tag here, I'll use the script tag, and then the source attribute here, I'll write the name of my JavaScript file. So this is how we can link it. So when I linked it, immediately I save, you see that hello from the index file is printed in the console over here. So when I go ahead and just let's say console.log, let's say 1 2 3 4 5, and save, you see we get the number 1 2 3 4 5 in the console. So this is how we can link an external JavaScript file to an HTML file. And this script tag, or when we are linking an external JavaScript file, we can also put that in the head tag as well. And when we put that in the head tag, we can specify the async attribute or the defer attribute. So let me just comment this, copy this quickly and then comment it out. And then when I put this in the head tag here and save, we get the same result, but I can add the async attribute here. And what the async attribute does is it allows the script to be downloaded in parallel with other resources and executed as soon as it is available without blocking the HTML parsing. And then another attribute I can add is the defer attribute. Since this is just a simple JavaScript file, we don't see its effect on the file. So the defer attribute allows the script to be downloaded in parallel with other resources, but delays the execution of the script until the HTML parsing is completely finished. So that's the difference between the async. The async downloads the JavaScript file with the HTML file, but it will only be executed after the HTML is passed, and then the defer will wait for the file to be passed before the JavaScript file will be downloaded with other resources. So that's it. It is also the script file is also fetched asynchronously. So that is it about the defer and then the async keyword. The next thing we'll look at is how to add how to import code from a different JavaScript file to another JavaScript file. So I'll just go ahead and then create another JavaScript file called, let's say, script.js. And then let's say I'll define a function quickly. I'll just say show message function, show message, which is an arrow function. And then this will just console.log hello world. This is not the best example, but it's okay for it. Let me write that properly. Hello world and save. Now, when I go ahead and try, let's say maybe executing this show message here and save, we get an error because whenever we write a JavaScript file, that file is private by default. So the code and then the functionality or the logic we put in a JavaScript file is only private to that file until we make it otherwise, which maybe make it public to other files, whereby other files can access code from another file. And in JavaScript, there are multiple ways of doing that, and we'll look at the new ESX way using the import and then the export keyword. So in order to make this file accessible in this index.js file, I'll go ahead and then first of all we'll look at what we call the default export. So I'll just say the export default show message and save. So by so doing, now this message functionality or this message show message function, it can be accessed from other JavaScript file, but we still get an error here because I have to import it in this file before I can use it. So using the import keyword, I can say import show message, and you see that my text editor is now giving me auto completion, but I'll just write it out from then the path to the file, which is script.js. Make sure you add the JS extension. But when I do that, upon doing that, and then I try executing the show message functionality, we still get an error because in my JavaScript file, in order to, let me just comment this one out so that we work with the one here. Let me just scroll down quickly and comment this one in and save. You see that we still get an error saying I cannot use import statement outside a module. So what we have to do is on this script tag, you just add the type attribute and then specify a value of module and save. Upon doing that, we now see that the error is gone and then we get our hello world message printed in the console here. So this is how we can import and then export code or functionality from one JavaScript file to another. And another export statement we can use is only export, and that one we use it in line. So over here I can just put export here and save. We'll get an error because over here whenever we are not importing a default export, we have to use curly bracket around the imported code or function or code before we can be able to use it. So that's it about the import and then the export statement in JavaScript, and how we can access code and functionality from one JavaScript file to another. So it's not only functions. I can declare a variable over here. So let's say const an array. So an array of, let's say, cars, and then I'll set it to, let's say, Tesla, and then let's say lucid air, and then let's say BMW, and save. And then I can use default export, or and one thing you have to note is that we can only use one default export in a JavaScript file, but we can use multiple export keywords. So I can still export this, but I cannot say for instance, when I comment this one out and remove the export keyword from here and save, we'll get an error because I have to go ahead and remove this quickly, and we are good to go. So I can put an export statement here because we can only have one default export. When I try saying let's say writing something like export default again, and let's say cars, and save, you see that we get an error. So we can have what we said, that we identify default has already been declared. So we can have only one default export in one JavaScript file, but we can have multiple export statement or keywords. So I can export this, and over here when I want to use it, I'll use comma and then put what cars here, and you see that my text editor is giving me nice auto completion. And then I can just maybe console.log the cars here and save, and you see that our array of cars is being printed in the console. Or better still, I can just use the for loop here, and then for car in for of, not for in, of cars, and then I'll just what console.log what car. I can put this in line because it's just one liner, and then we are good to go. So you get Tesla, Lucid, and then BMW printed in our terminal. So this is how we can import and then export code and functionality from one JavaScript file to another, and then just having only one source of truth of what one JavaScript file in our index.js file. So with the script, I can add another external JavaScript file here. Maybe let's say I have an app. Sorry, let me just write that quickly. First of all, let me create an app.js file. So let me just say app.js and save here. Let me just console.log from, sorry, hello. Let me write that properly. Hello from app file and save. So over here, I can add another JavaScript file called, let's say, app.js and save. And you see that we get to a hello from app file over here in our terminal at the top here. So that's all about this video. Please subscribe and follow for more videos and contents like this. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.